Okay, good morning, everybody, and welcome to this week's virtual plant clinic. My name is Bill Lester. I'm with Hernando County Extension, and here with me today is my new regular co-host, our Master Gardener volunteer, Bernie, and also joining in is our previous past retired regular co-host, Lily Browning. Good morning, Lily. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you, Bill?
Good. And you're not here at the office with us, are you?
I'm not. You can see I'm on a porch. I'm sitting outside and I would say, I don't know, 76, 77 degrees or so out here.
Yeah, you're not here.
Tiny bit humid because it's trying to rain. And it's funny to me when the people talk about, the humidity. And I'm like, okay, yeah. What humidity? But
Yes, Lily's up in beautiful Pennsylvania.
And I was telling Bill before we started, I've been here, Saturday will be 3 weeks, so going on 3 weeks. And Pennsylvania has been outdoing herself with sunny days every day up until this point. Then she just exhausted her welcome for me. She couldn't keep up that momentum. And so now we're having a typical gray Pennsylvania day. But
it's beautiful and sunny here. I think the heat index was about 100 in Tampa this morning. It wasn't that bad here in Hernando County, but not far behind it. So
I told the gentleman before we started also the biggest thing that I notice being here, like if I'm in a typical store where you can forget where you are or what, and you walk outside and I'm braced for that wall of heat to come at you like we all our Floridians are, and it doesn't happen. Like, whoa, wait a minute. This is weird. I didn't get attacked by the heat monster when I walked outside. We had probably 4 days near 90 and everyone was dying, but that was really only in the middle of the day, and we're quite used to avoiding being outside in the middle of the day. So
well, the heat bothers them. I wonder why all of them are in the process of moving to Florida.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know either.
Every single person we meet says, you what now? You're doing it backwards. Also, I have not met anyone who does not have a relative, a son, a brother, a someone in Florida. They all do. So,
well, they get tired of spinning down the hills in the snow. That just
where I'm going to be.
You're ready to move.
You know where I'm going to be when that occurs, Bernie?
You're going to go back to Florida.
I'm going to be in an RV park in Bushnell, Florida.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we're going to get the best of both worlds.
That's exactly what I was thinking to call it. The best of both worlds.
There you go.
The nice part about it is your grass isn't growing so fast up there that you have to mow it every other day like it is here. So,
maybe once a week. And it's a peer pressure thing. When TJ next door over there or Tim over there, when they mow, then we got to mow about it.
You don't want to be the bad neighbor.
Right. And actually, before we got here, the people next door mowed for us. He just said, I was bored. I just mowed your yard. And speaking of the yard, it's a very small yard, but it is one big mess. You want to see if we can do a tour of the yard?
Sure, we can do that.
Before you got questions coming in? All right, let me see. You walk down the steps of my porch here. We'll start out in the front. I'll have to turn the camera around, so let me know what you can see or can't see.
Okay.
So, can you see this? Whoa. Can you see a bed here?
I see a shrub. I see shrubbery.
Yeah, see the shrub. I'll back away. It's some kind of boxwood, and I'll probably be moving it. Also, everything is just shoved in here. This is an iris of some kind. Was blooming in the spring. You see hostas hiding in there?
Kind of, yeah.
Yep. This I will keep. It's sedum,
Yeah.
and they tell me this will turn all beautiful bright red in the fall. And this is a very, very, very unhappy lilac.
Yes, everybody, lilacs will not grow in Florida. Please do not ask about growing lilacs.
Probably that sedum won't either. This
Not very
lilac
well.
looks like some kind of fire blight to me.
Yeah, that could be. It's got some kind of disease going on.
But not all of it looks that way, so I'm just going to cut it way back. In fact, everything we have, I'm going to cut almost down to nothing and start all over again. Here's what I was working on last night. Can you see that? Whoop, the pile of brush.
Yes.
And over here is a mess of a rose bush. I told my husband, just go ahead and flatten that. It's some kind of rambling rose, and it's way too close to the house. It's over, under, around, and through. So I've called it a prepositional rose because it's over, under, around, and through the house. And we're going to cut so much back, and then what comes back in the spring, we'll deal with then. Something interesting over here. One is nearly dying, but can you see this?
Yes.
They call that a moonflower.
Yeah.
There's about a ton of them about to bloom. They bloom in the evening and all through the night. I've looked them up. Of course, they're probably invasive. But it's one of the nice looking plants that she has. Oh, I have something that's gone way, way, way down. It's past its season, but see if you can tell what this was. It's a northern, here we go. Come on. It's very hard to tell. Anyway, that was a peony. It's a peony beyond its prime. So I have to look
yes,
up.
everybody, peonies do not do well in Central Florida. Please do not
You're going to
ask.
say that about everything I show you. I think I learned from Master Gardener Sean, who mentioned his northern days, that he taught his aunt or something that you can cut them down and just till them in the soil so that they come back nicer. But I have a feeling these peonies come back on their own regardless.
Yeah.
But here's something that is the biggest thing that has to go bye-bye. Let's see if you can get it all.
Oh yeah, your beautiful dead tree.
Can you see that? Isn't it gorgeous?
Yeah.
Nice.
You like all the vines on it?
Well, you need to make it green.
Yes.
Yeah.
Those vines and the rest of the overgrowth, when we get in the backyard, you'll see it's just a mess. They attract a Hitchcockian amount of birds. I mean, I'm all for, bird habitat, but no, this has to be brought under control. Plus, this tree is humongous and very dangerous. But we have here, oh, my husband's leaving. That's what he's leaving me. Say bye, Henry. Bye. Here
I see ivy.
You lost your audio.
Yes, you're on mute.
there we go. Sorry.
There you go.
English ivy.
Yeah.
All over the place. That's going down with the tree. But the birds that live in there that we watch in the evening, oh. But I'll tell you why. I think we have an excessive amount of birds. Here I can show you what they do, but it rained, so there's not as much. But you see usually my porch rail is nicely filled with bird poo. Something of interest. Well, two things. First of all, I didn't know trumpet vine grows here. And let me tell you, it grows here. It's taking over the entire backyard. See, the lady who lived here, she passed at 101. So, at some point she had a gorgeous yard going on.
Mm-hmm.
But she's been gone since January, and who knows how long before that she wasn't able to care for the yard. So her gorgeous yard it's to the point where basically everything needs to be cut down and see what nice comes back and what we need to start with. But here's trumpet vine. There, can you see? There we go.
Yeah.
Eating whatever tree this is. I can't even tell what kind of tree it is. It's a trumpet vine tree.
You
And-
need to contact your
I will.
Pennsylvania friendly landscape agent and get current information on where you are.
Yes, but look what else she planted. It wasn't until we could get some stuff away from it. Obviously, she planted this. Oh, it's hard for me to get this angle right. Anyway, it's bamboo, which I'm sure freezes, but obviously
And comes back.
Yeah, tons and tons of pokeweed, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, except it's just everywhere. Of course, what else do we have with all this overgrowth? What you would imagine. Can you see that? You probably can't see it. It is poison ivy.
Oh. Oh, it looked kind of like blackberry or raspberry.
Oh, that would be nice.
Now you can
Maybe.
grow raspberries up there.
Yeah, I'm going to do that too. But here is just a mess of a mess. That the neighbors are very eager that we get away from their shed, because apparently the lady who lived here nor her daughter wanted to do it. They're like, no, we like it. So we asked the neighbors, how much do you want us to get away from your shed? Because it's obviously our overgrowth. And they're like, all of it. Get it all. And the last thing
time to go invest in the jug of triclopyr and at least 2-gallon pump sprayer and get out there and get busy.
You want to see something terrifying? I have not gone in this. Can you see that you're supposed to go in there
Yeah.
and sit?
Oh,
I'll pass on that.
I'd be afraid of bees. Sure, bees like stuff like that.
If it was in Florida, I'd be extra terrified of snakes or something, but there could be a copperhead, who knows?
Yeah.
But that is part of where the 42,683 birds congregate and live. And what's on there? Trumpet vine, honeysuckle, God knows what else. A sumac trying to go through it.
They have a problem with invasive honeysuckle up there. I think Japanese.
Yes, you do. And it's the
I'm not
Japanese
really familiar with,
honeysuckle. It's the Japanese honeysuckle that's on there.
Yeah.
And, she probably put it there, but it's got to. Probably that whole lattice little sitting area is going to have to be taken down. I don't imagine I don't even know how we can take the vines down without a chainsaw also taking down the little sitting area. We'll put something else, And I don't know that we're going to get to this all this year, but what we'll try to do is cut most things down and then let winter do its thing.
Yeah.
Come back in the spring and see what we got left. Here's one area that used to be, up until yesterday, covered in weeds, and my husband took care of this against the neighbor's fence. It's all just with his weed eater and his mower. It's all
Yeah.
eventually that's what's going to happen pretty much to everything. Oh, another thing of interest that I did read about from the Penn State County Extension Office, Bernie. Oh, wait, first, you want to see the conch from my tree?
Oh, yeah.
See?
That's a good thing. Oh,
Oh, wow.
goodness.
Yeah.
It was stuck to the tree, but one of my relatives kicked it down. End of August, like 27th or something. That's when this is coming down at a great price. I promise you. Here we have, which I thought about leaving. This is my little carport area, which has this beautiful, you know, that green wavy fiberglass stuff
Yeah.
from the 60s. Eventually we'll take that down, but it also has all this grapevine. And I thought, well, you know, maybe I'll leave the grapevine there, even if it's not a producing grapevine. But
Yeah, you have to wait and see what kind of grapes it gets on it.
well, what I read is from Penn State is kind of like a lot of our, reminded me of beach sunflower or some of the black eye Susans, that it's so hybridized now. It's very difficult to even consider native from not native grapevine. And that wouldn't bother me. I would still leave it there, but, and no, Bill, I haven't found any, but it is a favorite food of a spotted lanternfly.
Oh, okay.
So they are kind of encouraging people not to provide that favorite food for the spotted lanternfly. So, you know, I'll probably be taking some of that down too. So that's the outside. Got a lot of work to do, but I'm looking at other areas, like when we get all this down, of what I want to put in. Like that little circle out front that has the way too much, that has the lilac, the boxwood, the sedum, the irises, and the hosta. Take most of that out, place it elsewhere, and I'm going to make that a wildflower little circle there. So maybe what I'll do is take a walk and take pictures of the pretty yards around here, and maybe, you know, put those on Lily's Lens Facebook if people want to check that out, and they can see the pretty yards around here and, you know, kind of my inspiration. And of course, it's starting to drizzle now. So,
Yeah. Well, it is gray and dark and drizzly up there most of the year as opposed to Florida.
it has not been until today, which is amazing. It's that Pennsylvania exhausted herself with about 13, 14, no, more like 20 days of sunshine. So, and of course, I was so busy doing other stuff, I didn't get many pretty pictures.
Well, summer's not over up there yet.
No, it's
It'll
not.
be in just a few weeks, but
I mean, we really have we have all through September to have pretty flowers and stuff, and partially through October. So I was, I brought a cousin in from the city. My sister brought her here, and I took her home. I'm about 40 miles from Pittsburgh. She lives in Pittsburgh. And anyway, we passed a nursery, and she was saying, she's about 86 years old, but she was saying, well, I don't understand why they have all those flowers out for the nursery when the season's pretty much over. And I was like, what? Such weird words to my ears. But
yeah, it cools off and it's fall like around September 1st.
Nah, not
And then
anymore.
normally by Halloween or the end of October, it was chilly at night.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I'll be here for Halloween, and I'm looking forward to that because my daughter's got a neighborhood similar to mine with all these bunch of houses and everything. And, you know, we sit on her porch and all the kids just from the whole neighborhood just come by. So, and I enjoy that. So mid-November before Thanksgiving, we'll we'll get down to Florida. So
Yeah, fall's almost here, isn't it? We're already good part of the way through August. So if anybody watching us live has any lawn and garden questions, please feel free to go ahead and ask them in the chat.
yeah, I'm surprised you haven't. Have I just made everyone leave, or?
Everybody's silent. They're silently watching.
Yeah.
They're waiting for tulips. Lily, where's the tulips?
Well, maybe before I leave, I can get some in the ground and show them to you in the spring.
And of course, if you're watching this recorded, if you ever have any lawn and garden questions, just go ahead and shoot me an email. Send me pictures. Lots of pictures. Clear pictures are preferred. Pictures from up close, from far away. A lot of times we can figure out what your problem is from just pictures. And if we can't, if we need to look at something under a microscope or send it off to be tested, we'll let you know, and you can bring in a sample. And I have a special request to ask for everybody. Looks like we have about at least 8 people watching at the moment. So I'll mention it now and mention it again at the end. If anybody is growing okra or southern peas, also known as black-eyed peas, in your garden, do me a favor, take a few pictures, send them to me. I need some pictures for a blog post on both, and I'm having a hard time finding good pictures of okra. So
I see a lot of raised beds and containerized beds, because this little borough that I live in has mostly small yards. Although I noticed, like, I'm the only one with a single lot. Everybody else over time has like bought the extra lot near them, or that
Yep.
house is gone and whatever, but they have a little bit bigger yards. But there's a lot of cool looking vegetables going on here right now. And
yeah,
I
they're
bought,
coming up on harvest time. When
it is.
they grow everything and then you harvest all of it.
Yep, the corn is ready. The corn is everywhere. I took a picture of some corn. It was like a blur of corn as we were driving by. Sent it to my previous boss, Alice Brockway, who's from Kansas. And I said, I bet you don't know what this is. She said, oh, yeah, I barely recognize what that is. But, yeah, this is in general a rural, I can't say that word, rural
A what?
rural
Okay.
area. So in driving around, I see a lot of farms and things, but every mile or so is a different township, different borough, different town. So it's just, counties don't mean much really, except for where you get your driver's license or how they tax you. But in this little borough that I'm in, I think it's less than 1,000 people, of North Apollo. It is just north of the town of Apollo. And yes. And what I've learned, I mean, of course they travel out and about, but within the township, it's extremely important. The market square is the shop and save. So you better show up at the shop and save and say hi to everyone. And across the street from that is the post office, which is the other place everyone gathers. You want to know why? You want to know why? We do not receive mail at our houses in North Apollo. No mail at the houses. We all have to have a post office box. It's not even a half a mile away. I could walk there. I mean, I haven't yet, but I could. I usually just stop there coming and going, doing my stuff. But everyone has, well, mostly everyone has been very, very nice. It's kind of funny. I kept in my mind, I didn't say anything to Henry, that in the beginning, it's getting better. I noticed the women were a bit standoffish and condescending, to a new person. The men, nice as can be. I apparently can't put my own shopping buggy away, just very, very, very nice. I didn't say anything. And then Henry, my husband, says to me, I've noticed the women are like really nice, but the guys are kind of staring me down. the exact opposite of what I said. So I'm like, okay, you know what? We need to go into Shop and Save together and let this be known.
Do they charge you for your mailbox?
Yeah, for our post office box, yes, you have to pay for it, but you don't have a choice. And my daughter, who's across the river in the town of East Vandergrift, she's 2.8 miles via the road. She's probably a lot closer if I could ferry across the river. Same thing. She doesn't get mail at her house either. But yet my sister, who's pretty much way out in the country, she gets mail like a normal United States citizen.
You
Just-
are in the United States, aren't you?
Yeah, I think so. I get packages from UPS and FedEx. They're able to come up and throw things on the porch. But if it's coming from the post office, nope, got to go down to the. And it's okay for me as a retired person. Post office is open 8 to 5. I don't know what working people do about
So
their
that's
mail.
your big activity for the day. I got to go to the post office today.
Yeah. Like I said,
And
it's
buy a
on,
stamp to mail.
it's on the little
something.
main road as you enter North Apollo, so it's not that big of a deal to stop and get it. But of course, it doesn't have a parking lot. You know, you got to park on the street or in the Shop and Save parking lot across the street.
They don't have Walmart grocery delivery up there?
Oh, they probably do. I bet they do.
How far away is the nearest Walmart?
15, 16 miles, something like that. I did tell Henry because, I mean, Shop and Save is fine. Giant Eagle, I said that very clearly for you non-Pennsylvanians because otherwise they would say Giant Eagle. Giant Eagle is a grocery store about 6 miles away. It's like a Publix. So, you know, you have to you get good deals, but you have to really shop. Then there's a privately owned place, maybe 2 miles, called Nazar's. That place you just have to experience. It's like, might be very similar to a grocery store you went to as a child, even you, Bernie, and nothing has really changed. It's not made like the, you know, beautiful, well planned out Florida grocery stores, but it's cool. It's interesting. But I did tell Henry, I think we're going to have to make a trip to a Walmart to, you know, get just the basics at, you know, better prices. So, but it's not that big a deal, you know. People drive that far all the time. So.
Well, Monique always wonders where those people work when she drives through small towns like that.
Well, things have changed in the last 3 years. So I'll tell you, a good deal of them do work from home. So that post office thing is not a big deal anymore. Now, where did they work before? You know, some of them actually drive all the way into Pittsburgh. My daughter did. She's working from home permanently now. There are other bigger towns between here and Pittsburgh. Monroeville, Greensburg is about like Ocala-sized town. And some of them do work for, you know, a few work for the boroughs or the townships, or they work in retail, or they have their own businesses. Hospitals.
What about the coal miners? They still live in your neighborhood?
No.
What?
There was never a coal mine in this neighborhood. This was a steel town.
Oh, okay.
So believe it or not, I don't have to have indemnity insurance because this town is one of the few places around here not sitting on top of an old coal mine. But, you know, because we are just a few blocks from the river, but I'm uphill, so I don't have to have flood insurance. It was Apollo and Vandergrift, North Apollo, all that. They were steel towns. Mr. Vandergrift tried to be bigger than Mr. Carnegie. Did not succeed. But across the river and up the hill, he created a really cute Victorian looking town that's still trying to hold on to a lot of that. So, my Florida daughter did have a question about blackberries. She got some blackberries. She bought them somewhere, and they're getting brown around the edges. They're still in containers. So I spoke to another doctor of plant medicine from Florida.
Mhm.
Don't know if you know who that could have been. And he said, get them out of the pots, get them in the ground, which is what I figured, and use a copper-based fungicide.
Yes, blackberries are very sensitive to getting fungal diseases, and they pretty much will several times a year. So you're going to have to spray them with the fungicide. Copper fungicide is fine.
Okay.
And if they're outgrowing their pots, they need to go in the ground. They'll go dormant in a few months. At some point over the winter, they go pretty much dormant. They lose their leaves. It really helps if you rake up or clean up all those old leaves that fall off, because
Okay.
they're all full of disease. So
Right.
that helps in the spring. Mine always get a terrible outbreak of fungus late winter, early spring.
Okay. But they should be in full sun is where she should put them.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, the you pick farms around here. I've been to several, and they have to use a lot of fungicides. Their farm or crops are out there in the full sun. They have built-in micro irrigation for them, and blackberries can do really well here. They're not,
Well,
obviously.
I know they grow in the wild. I mean, Florida
Yeah,
does grow
yeah.
wild blackberries. That's why when Dr. Strickland told me, yeah, full sun, I'm thinking, but they grow in the woods. But I guess the varieties that homeowners grow need full sun, or maybe they grow in the woods in patches of full sun.
I think so.
Okay.
They tolerate full sun.
And I can grow blackberries here, like I said, and raspberries.
Just different varieties of blackberries up there than what we grow
Right.
here.
Not all the University of Arkansas varieties. That's for the South. All those Indian named ones are
Yeah,
for you guys. Yeah.
that's mostly what's grown here, along with any brand new varieties that UF is coming out with.
My sister every year goes and I don't know where, maybe she'll share her secret with me next summer. She always finds wild cherries, makes pies out of them. I had a wild cherry pie waiting for me, although I am always very careful with her wild cherries because probably 20 years or so ago, one of her wild cherry pies cost her daughter several thousands of dollars in dental work because she ate
Yeah,
a bit.
yeah, you got to watch those seeds.
Yes.
But you can grow varieties of cherries up there.
Mm-hmm.
You can grow peaches. You
Yep.
just have to get the right varieties. Peaches will grow up to Ohio and further north.
Yeah.
Apples, obviously, apples will grow in Pennsylvania. Guys, apples just do not do well here in Central Florida. So please don't be blowing up my email with apple questions. You can call Bernie and talk apples with him all day long if you'd like.
Even the Israeli Anna apples, which people, you know what I always hear? Oh, I'm going to try the Israeli Annas or what are the other ones? Dorsets. They're going to be fine. That's what I
Dorset.
always hear.
There's
I'm
another
going to
one.
do this. It's going to be fine in Florida. What I never hear is I did it and it was fine. I never hear that second half of the
Yeah,
conversation.
yeah. And I've heard of or know of, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 people who say they were very successful with it. But it's one of those things that you're more than welcome to try it if you think you're going to be the lucky 1%er who's going to have it work really well and you're going to get a good harvest.
The 1%,
good
the
sized
1%er apple.
not good size, but good sized apples off of them. If you think so, go for it. It's just
Yeah.
doesn't work really well here.
When I was driving my sister home, went through her alleyway, and there's a big crabapple tree. Drove all
Crab
over the
apples, I
slimy
remember
crab
them.
apples, making applesauce driveways.
You know, crab apples are the perfect size, and if you pluck the stem off, perfect size for slingshots.
Oh, I bet they are. Yeah. Yeah.
Or if you
I
want
don't.
something
When
a
I was
little
little,
prettier,
when I
if
was
you
little, we'd pick them and eat one or two because our parents would always advise us that we would hurt our belly if we ate more. Now I don't see anyone doing anything, just totally ignoring this driving over the crab apples.
yeah. Yeah, when I was a kid in Maryland, neighbors would have apple trees, Red Delicious, Golden Delicious, other ones. Other neighbors would have pear trees.
Yeah.
You have Anjou and Seckel and probably a couple other types. And we'd eat some of all them. I mean, we wouldn't sit there and eat a whole bushel of pears, but if you're really hungry, you can grab a pear and eat it.
Well, would you like to hear my attempt at recycling story?
Sure.
Well, this is even more interesting than the post office. There is a recycling center in the town of Leechburg, about 4 miles away. And so I told my GPS, please take me there. Because I had a whole bunch of cardboard. You know, obviously they're not going to pick it up at the curb here. They won't even get your mail. We're lucky they take trash. So I'm like, okay, this place is open Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. Working people are not able to recycle. But anyway, I'm like, I will take it. So yesterday, filled my car up with cardboard, following the GPS over to Leechburg. It took me through up this hill. I'm not allowed to call it mountains. People here don't call them mountains. They laugh at me if I call them mountains. So they're hills. In the deep woods, you know, I thought I might be in West Virginia. I started hearing banjos, and then where it wanted me to turn, where it insisted the road was that I turn, was an unpaved, not even gravel, just an unpaved road. It didn't have the street sign on it. It didn't have a recycling this way sign on it. It did have a sign that said not maintained in the winter. And I couldn't see where it was whether it was somebody's driveway or what. And I was just in my car, not my husband's truck. And I'm like, I noped on out of there. But it was another couple miles through windy bends. And at one point I was like on this precipice of the mountain overlooking the town of Leechburg. It was really pretty.
Wow.
Wish I could have enjoyed it more and not been that concerned with dying. And then, but when I left there, I'm like, I don't know what they recycled there, but it's possibly body parts. So I'm like out of here. When I came back and talked to a couple people and looked on a map, there's a perfectly reasonable way they took me to the right place, just the wrong way. And there's a perfectly reasonable way to get there through town, which I'm going to try tomorrow because I couldn't do it today because, they close at 11.
Yeah, Google Maps and GPS think certain things are roads when in reality they're not roads.
No.
They're not go paths. They're just a clearing through the woods, I guess.
My granddaughter's like, well, that is a way to get there, but she goes, your car would not have gotten up there. I'm like, yeah, how about we get out of here now?
Okay, looks like Anne-Marie drove through North Carolina and the corn looks beautiful, and in Tennessee. They visited Biltmore. The gardens were lovely. Yeah, this is a really good time of year for up north.
Never been to Biltmore because I've never worked up the desire to pay as much as you have to pay to go to Biltmore.
Oh.
It's a
Well, you
lot. It's
probably
like
been to
Disney
Disney,
prices.
right? It can't be more than Disney.
It's just, well, if you're going to view the house, I guess it is, but maybe just the gardens is a little less.
I didn't think anything was more expensive than Disney.
Someday I'll get to build more. Well, my problem is, we're usually there in the North Carolina, Asheville area for only a week or so, and it's kind of far, and no one ever wants to go with me and all that. So maybe if we go in RV there for a little longer, I'll just go myself.
Well, you need to look around and find the farmers markets up there.
Oh, there's one. There's plenty. There's plenty around here.
Get the fresh harvest. And since
Yeah.
you're retired, you need to learn how to can stuff.
Okay.
You can start
Oh,
canning.
maybe that'll be our next adventure. I'll take you through my cellar.
I remember cellars up there. We don't have
Yeah.
cellars here.
No, my cellar is actually, it's everyone here says, what are you talking? This is clean and nice. It's not a basement. It is by no means a finished basement. There's not a game room down there. It's a cellar.
Maybe you have canned stuff up there then you just don't know about. It's in the cellar.
Yeah, it could be. I didn't go in all the nooks and crannies yet, but there are plenty of places to hide canning, is what I'm going to say. My washer and dryer are down there, and I got a wash tub in the middle of them. Brand new wash tub. And you know what 90% of the wash tub's job is going to be?
Sitting there.
Huh?
Sitting there, because how often does anybody use a wash tub?
When you have 8-pound dogs, a wash tub is a wonderful dog washing station.
Well, our 7-pounder fits in the sink just fine.
Yeah.
She uses the wash tub, but that's about the only thing it gets used for. Other than that, it's kind of for looks.
And there's, in the corner of the basement, it looks like it's a shower stall, like the cement shower stall. Even has a curtain. You pull it back. There's a toilet there. Fully functioning toilet. But across the cellar is a shower and a sink. Those things are not together.
Well, that's where you make company stay.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And my assumption is you can look up on the web, look up the phenomenon of Pittsburgh potties, Pittsburgh toilets. They weren't exclusive to Pittsburgh, but I guess we got the name for them. Just toilets, sometimes just out in the open in the middle of the cellar. They say it was so the steelworkers could come home and wash up if they put a bathroom there, before they came upstairs. What its real purpose, what I believe its real purpose is when they started building the cities and the towns, and the sewage system was not, when they started putting in a sewage system, when people had started having indoor bathrooms, they would have sewage backups, and it's going to back up at the lowest point. So it's a sacrificial toilet in the basement. So if the sewage backs up, it happens in the basement. And they're still
That
just
makes
kind of,
sense. It's
they-
disgusting, but it makes sense.
they just kind of hang around still. So I assume that was just your normal Pittsburgh potty down there. And then years later, they're like, hey, we also want a shower down here and a sink and a bathroom across. Well, they did it because it's under the kitchen. So
Where you can get to the plumbing, that's where you put it. No.
that's right. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's what you guys do up there in Pittsburgh, huh? That and eat scrapple for breakfast.
I knew you were going to say that. So right before I came on, I want you to know I had a chipped ham because that's what Western Pennsylvanians eat. You get it from Giant Eagle or Shop and Save. Chipped ham and a cheese sandwich. I did see scrapple in the grocery store and I thought of you, but I've never had scrapple. That is mostly that's that other side, that Philadelphia
I'm sure a lot of your neighbors
area.
are eating it.
I'm sorry.
I'm sure a lot of your neighbors are eating scrapple.
No, they're
washing
not.
down
It
in
goes
cold
no.
Iron City, and
They're drinking Iron City, yes, but they
Slice off
like
those
Allentown
little
on
pieces.
East. It would be a scrapple thing.
Slice off some little pieces of the scrapple. Put some maple syrup on it. It's delicious breakfast.
Yeah, I looked it up. Like, yeah, that's pretty disgusting.
it's similar to what will go into head cheese or P&P loaf or the olive or pickle loaf.
What is
Kind
that
of the stuff
Scottish?
that falls on the floor at the
Haggis?
butcher shop, and it kind of gets all goes into something.
Right. Haggis. Yes, I have eaten haggis. I was brave once, and John Burnett, the stormwater project manager at the Department of Public Works, he fed me some haggis, so I ate it once to be brave. But I'm not going to be brave
Can't
enough
be
to eat
much worse than
scrapple.
spam. Spam
I'm
is
sorry?
fine. Spam.
Yeah.
You know, that's kind of the favorite meat of Hawaii.
Oh yeah, I
Spam.
know.
Spam's a really big thing on the island, which probably isn't going to have many people left after it burns away.
Oh my gosh, Bernie. Yeah, there will be.
They'll still have spam. I'm sure spam is really big in Pittsburgh also.
Yeah. You're not getting any questions today, Bill.
I know. Gosh, this is probably like the quietest group that we've had in memory, really.
Well, we're all enjoying the story. Nobody wants to ask a question and interrupt the story. So
Yes.
you're really doing well. You're on a roll, kid.
Uh-huh.
People are just watching us chat it up here.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, I know if you go way back, our very first couple of episodes, I can't remember if there was ever times when we had nobody on.
You know what it is they're all on vacation. They're like, we're done with this heat and we're going somewhere else. They got out of Florida.
If it was me, I'd be down in the Keys fishing right now. I'd head south. Always a good time to head south.
47 years I lived in Florida. I never could adapt to the heat. And, you know, it's kind of funny considering the job I went into, but you notice the job I went into also is like, I'll tell you how to do it from inside. I mean, my body just, I could get sick in 20 minutes out in that heat. So I can be more active outside. I've taken plenty of walks
And for anybody who is watching either live or recorded from Hernando County, we will have a new Florida Friendly Landscape coordinator in place soon, within a few weeks. So
yes,
he's
and
not new Lily.
yeah, that's what I wanted to also come on. I wanted to come on before that person starts because I don't want to, you know, be in there, you know, let them do their thing. They're still going through the hiring process, so you know it ain't over till it's over.
Yeah.
From what I've heard, though, it's supposed to be like August 21st that they start. And from what I know, assuming all goes as it's supposed to, you know, what do they say? There's many a slip between a cup and a lip. Lots of things can happen. Maybe that person decides, nah, I don't want to. Or, you know, who knows what could happen. But assuming the current chosen person begins on August 21st, that person is the opposite of everything I am. Opposite in gender, opposite in age.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's a good thing because then no one will be expecting him to be anything like me. And I don't expect him to be anything like me. And that might be a big relief to everyone. Bill may be like, oh, good, thank God we'll get Lily out of the way and be able to do something else. But, you know, all the master gardeners they knew me before I had this job. So I was kind of, you know, nurtured by them before. But they're nothing but supportive. as well as other people out in the community. But, Bernie was a huge support. Rita was a huge support. All the master gardeners were. I had this whole team of people that made me look good. And it's really just because I knew who to turn to. If I didn't know the answer, I would ask Bill, or I would ask Jim Mall, the person who had Bill's job before him and is now in Pasco County. Or I would ask Dr. Stacy Strickland, or I would ask Bernie, or I would ask Rita, or, sometimes I go and ask Sean, something about butterflies or native plants. Same I do with Rita. I had a whole team of support. So I'm just asking you guys to do the same for this new person and, help them on the journey. And I think he's young, so I think he's going to bring a lot of young energy, and it could be a really exciting thing. So.
Yeah, I would hope for his sake he doesn't try to be new Lily.
No.
He makes his own mark and does his own thing, and it'll be great.
The other people I leaned on, John Karicki had this job for about 6 years. He's a very good friend of mine. Even if I didn't lean on him directly, I leaned on his work. Sylvia's work, she had the job for almost 2 years between John and I, Sylvia Durrell. I'd started out just redoing some of her PowerPoints. And while this new person has hundreds of my PowerPoints he can lean on and rely on and get started on, but then make it his own. And I'm sure that's what'll happen. And just please welcome him, be patient with him, and be as good to him as everyone was to me.
Well,
we'll have him on here eventually.
I'm sorry. There's definitely a new generation coming up. If you look at the people that were here when you really started, when you were getting your background, your basics, so many of those people have aged out or moved on, and I'm really surprised at how quickly things change in Florida. Just about any group moves through much quicker than it does up north.
Oh, absolutely. Yes.
If you were in an organization up north, you'd expect 20 years of
it's just
together. And
but that's the way everywhere now.
Now it's if the group stays together 4 years, that's pretty old group. So I really miss some of those people you mentioned, and and it's sad because there's so much knowledge that doesn't get transmitted on, and everybody loses out if you don't move that knowledge on. I thought you did a great job. I thought Karicki was really good at providing a foundation for what the job was supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
And
I didn't do it like him.
You didn't, but
I didn't build rain barrels. He was much more hands-on. I mean, I still had his drills sitting around there that I never touched. He was much more hands-on. Sylvia is just a classier person than I am. We each did it differently, but then that's what the new person is going to do, bring their own touch to it. So yes, and then after I had started, Teresa appeared and immersed herself into knowing so much, so that I began to lean on her for her knowledge too. And my friend Alice Mary Herndon, both of them are like, they came new to the scene a little later, but they jumped right in and wanted to learn so much, and then surpassed me in some areas. So that's what's cool, is hanging around with like-minded people.
Yeah, poor Teresa hasn't had to share any links to any University of Florida fact sheets because nobody's asking any questions today.
I guess either they're asleep,
maybe
either they're
busy.
fascinated.
She does have other work to do.
Either they're fascinated by life in Pennsylvania from Lily and terrifying recycling experiences, or they're asleep. One or the other.
Maybe Teresa just turned us off. I got to get some work done. So
yes,
these guys are all rambling.
Yep.
What I
And-
like now is that somebody comes in with one of these more northern questions that are really out of our realm. We can always say, "Hey, we'll ask our associate up in Pennsylvania."
You know what I was looking at, what I want to do.
Forward those emails.
So
When
you're
we get
now-
all the traveling out of our system, there is something I kind of want to do. And that would be, it would have to be 1 day a week because it's driving into Pittsburgh, but I would love to be a docent at the Phipps Conservatory. So, and that's a world famous conservatory in Pittsburgh.
see,
At least
people
I
are
know
there.
Monique is listening. to
Yeah.
me.
I know that they have a huge botanical garden. I think it's in the Pittsburgh area, isn't it?
Well, the Phipps Conservatory is probably what you're thinking of. The Botanical Gardens is in Philadelphia, Swarthmore, Longwood Gardens. I've actually been there before. But
No, I think this one was more in Pittsburgh. It was not Philadelphia.
okay, well, PHIPPS Conservatory is the big one, and it's got all kind of cool things going on. And I would love to be. They have several ways you can volunteer. You can be a docent with like a couple weeks of training, or you can be a master gardener there. Does not say you have to be from the county that Pittsburgh's in, because I'm not. But they have 2 semesters worth of training to be a master gardener from there. And it's the application process, just like you have.
And they
By the way-
probably contact me for a recommendation, wouldn't they?
If I put you down, they might, yeah.
That might be a problem. Well, I'm not so
I
sure
would,
about that.
like I said, it's an application process, and I was thinking, well, I hope I have a fairly good chance of getting through the process, but who knows? And then, Bernie, you can ask me questions after I've had a little bit of training.
You need to water
Lily,
the
have you
yard.
had to water the yard?
Oh, of course not, buddy. There's no irrigation system here. Didn't even think about that. And my grass, I don't know what it is. I mean, there's weeds and clover,
It's a
and
nice fescue.
it is a nice fescue. It's dark green. It's covers the whole yard. I walked in it bare feet, which isn't safe with the clover, but it felt good.
Bees, yeah, good way to get stung. When I was a kid, we always all got stung all summer long because we had no shoes on. So
Yep. And this borough has a whole network of alleys. They look like driveways, but they're alleys everywhere that everyone drives and walks through, and they are all just grass and gravel, and they just make life a little easier. You can't park in them because everyone is going to be using them. It's one of my favorite aspects of this is all the little alleys. So and
is
there's
that where the
one.
criminals hang out?
No, I mean, I don't think so.
Okay.
Yeah, we
I
were
think-
talking earlier about how people move to Florida and they want an absolute monoculture, perfect green year-round, 100% lawn. And yet up north, the lawns are not 100% monoculture. They're many things.
I have dandelions too. I neglected.
Dandelions,
Yes.
and clover, and 3 different kinds of grasses and 9 other weeds that nobody can even identify. And
And we don't care.
yeah, but as soon as they move to Florida, it's got to be this perfect monoculture. So I
After they
remember
move
when
here,
I was a
move into
kid.
a subdivision with a homeowners association, all of a sudden, it's critically important to them.
I got rerouted. I was trying to avoid where the GPS was sending me because I knew where it was sending me, to the bottom of a very steep hill to turn left where traffic is coming from multi directions, and I didn't want to do that. So I was trying to ignore it. And then the road was closed. I had no other choice, but it was turning me around in a new subdivision, very Floridian looking subdivision. Except that it was kind of on a hill. I thought I was in Florida, but the main thing I noticed was like, they get mailboxes.
Yeah. The letters RFD now mean something to you.
Well, I'm not rural enough to get mail. This is the reason that for years everyone has used my sister who's out in the country and to send things to other people, other family members around here. And I actually just write Joni's Mail Center. All right, well, it's 11 o'clock, Bill.
Man,
You haven't
Yes,
had
it
been-
is. If anybody has any last-minute lawn and garden questions, please be sure to go ahead and put them in the chat now. Let me go ahead and share my email for anybody who's watching this after the fact, the recording, whether it be on YouTube or on Facebook. You always feel free to shoot me an email, send me lots of pictures. We'll try to figure out what's going on. If you would ever like to call and speak with Bernie, Bernie is here on Thursdays from 8 in the morning till what, 2 or 3 in the afternoon
Yeah,
ish.
usually
Okay.
3.
And
Okay.
be sure to go by and visit our Master Gardener Nursery. There is the address. It's right off of State Road 41, right behind the Hernando County Fairgrounds. And they are there on Saturdays and Wednesdays, 8:30 in the morning until only 11 because it's really hot. When it cools off, they'll be there till noon. But right now it's 11 because it's still summer and will be for a while here. I know winter's right around the corner up in Pennsylvania, but not here, thank goodness.
It's going to be warm for probably through September, at least in the middle of the day. You know,
And-
the climate change and stuff, it's warmer up here longer.
If you want to learn a lot more about gardening here in Central Florida, Florida-friendly landscaping, trees, a whole host of different topics, go and visit the Hernando County Government's YouTube channel. Just go on YouTube, go to the little search bar at the top, put in Hernando County Government. You'll find their YouTube channel. I have a playlist on there with a number of videos, and Lily still has a playlist on there with well over 100 recorded classes,
Mhm.
most of which are at least an hour long, because her PowerPoints are huge. They're like, what, 70, 80 slides, something like that?
No, usually around 40 or 50.
Okay, it just seemed like 70 or 80 sometimes.
Yes.
So-
And Bernie, you want to know a secret? On a flash drive, Dr. Lester has a good number of my PowerPoints now too. So
Yeah.
if you know,
Right here, easy to access.
there you go.
I haven't
So-
even opened it up to see what you have on there.
But when
Yeah,
you
I'm
need,
sure-
when you need something, when you're asked to talk somewhere, you're going to be, let's see what Lily's already put together,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
shorten it by half.
But there's a lot of topics we already have recorded classes on. So go ahead and take advantage of Hernando County Government's YouTube channel, who is kind enough to tweak and finish up and clean up our recorded classes and put them up there for the public.
Mhm.
And let me go on here. Thank you, Lily, for letting us know what's happening in your new life. I want to see it. I want to see slush. I want to see you up there in March, and it's completely gray and drizzly all day long, and there's
Okay.
still slush and ice.
All right. We'll do that.
And and I could look out my window here and see no slush and ice here.
Nope. Well, part of March I will be there. So maybe I'll become a Sumter County Master Gardener because I'll be staying in Bushnell in the
Thanks.
winter.
They'd probably contact me for a recommendation one day.
Probably. And you'd say,
That
no,
might be a
don't do
problem.
it. She takes over stuff. Yeah. She's annoying.
Yeah, I know who runs the Sumter County Master Gardener program. I'll tell her all about you. I'll
Okay.
straighten it out. Okay, guys, I don't see any other questions on here, so I think we're going to wrap it up for this week. We will be back here next week. Let me double check to verify. Yes, we will be back here.
Hmm. And the following
our-
week, you should have your new FFL person. So be nice to him and be patient with him and help him along.
I spoke with your former supervisor yesterday afternoon, and she almost sounded like you can't expect him to be on something like that right after he starts. It takes a while for him to kind
Oh,
of get
okay.
into it. It's
Well,
like,
you know, she
it's
also may
easy.
have,
It's easy. Nobody knows what they're doing. It's just, I'll send you a link, click on it.
right. But
you end up
Alice
at the
might
top.
have other ideas of what she expects from him. She
She's
might also
hoping-
use this as an opportunity to redefine some things. So also, you know, if he may do things a little different, might not be his fault. It might be what he's directed to do.
But we could have him on here as a guest very easily. So far, everybody has figured it out.
Hmm.
And
Yep.
she's hoping to have him ready to do his first rain barrel class in October.
Cool. October. Wow, we have plenty of time to get ready.
Yeah.
I think I had to do one in like a week, but okay.
Yeah. I think I was at the library within a week or so. So
Yeah.
But hey, thanks
He
everybody.
has plenty of rain barrels, I can tell you that. He has got like probably 150 in the room there. So
He's got plenty to go through, I guess. He
Yeah.
got plenty of practice with it.
hmm
So hey everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. Like I said, we'll be back here again next week to answer all your lawn and garden questions. Feel free to email us, feel free to reach out. We'll do our very best. If we don't know the answer, we'll figure out what the answer is. And if you have any questions about Pennsylvania lawn care and landscaping, then I'd be more than happy to go ahead and forward all that to Lily's email. Can't make any guarantees that she'll answer them, but I will forward them. So,
That's right.
so hey,
It's good to
thanks,
see you.
Lily. Thanks for joining us, and
Yeah.
Bernie, as always, thank you so much. Let's go
Good to
ahead
see
and
you,
wrap it up.
Bernie. And
Yeah.
happy birthday.
Oh,
I forgot to tell you happy birthday.
Yes, happy birthday, Bernie. I know you got a lot of good wishes here on Facebook, so thanks everybody. Hey, we'll see y'all again next week. Bye.